For my first 3 years of after drama school, I was just doing plays. I was doing I was averaging like 3 plays a year, earning equivalent US dollars, maybe $400 a week. You know what I mean? Like I started out with one line at the back, trying not to get it wrong. And then over the years, I started building up, to getting leading roles, and I ended up playing roles like Othello like a great plays like Blue Orient.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of The Check-In. I am your host, NeAndre Broussard, founder and CEO of Black Menswear. And you know what we say about The Check-In? We checking in on us because ain't nobody else gonna check in on us. So we're gonna take that responsibility and we're gonna do it here right on our episode of The Check-In. And I got a special guest with me this week. My guy, Jimmy Akingbola, from the UK to the US, screens to screens, actor extraordinaire, man. Really appreciate you joining us and taking time out of your schedule to be here on The Check-In with Black Menswear.
No, Dre, it's an honor to be here. Thank you so much for having me on. And I feel like our relationship goes way back, with E as well. Like Black Menswear for me, if I had it my way, would have been in a episode of Bel-Air from day one.
Come on, bro.
I love the work that you do and all that you represent. So thank you. It's an honor to be here.
No, man, I appreciate it, man. Well, thank you. And I'm going to jump right into it, right? We start every episode the same way. I want to tap into the mind of my guest. And I do that by asking you, what is one of your favorite quotes? One of those quotes that whether you saw as a young man, whether you saw it last week, and you're like, man, it's just been on my mind. What's one of those quotes that's a really powerful quote for you that sticks with Jimmy Akingbola?
Oh, wow. I sort of got two.
Okay. I'll take two.
You take two?
Yeah, I ain't mad at two.
The first quote is dare to dream. I feel that's very powerful because I think a lot of people don't allow themselves to dream because they're afraid of failing, But what happens if you succeed? And then another quote, I don't know if it's a quote, my mom used to say this to me a lot, don't live life without regret. Don't live life with regrets. Do you know what I mean? So I think they're quite similar in that way in terms of just lean into that thing that scares you maybe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And do that thing that you may doubt yourself on, and you might be surprised what's on the other side.
Man, I like that, man. First of all, dare to dream.
Yeah.
Would you say you're living a dream right now?
You know what? I say it with a humble heart, I am.
Yeah.
I am. I think I just had some family over recently from the UK, and they're at my place, and we sat there in the sun, and my brother looked at me, he was like, look how far you've come, and I try to stay grounded and remember where I've come from, but I think when you have a sibling say that to you, and you can remember when you were kids running about in the house in East London in the UK, and here I am in LA, in Hollywood, and so I think I am living the dream, and I think, if I'm honest, being a part of Bel-Air is a huge part of that, in terms of being a part of something that's that's a part of the culture.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then also being able to represent a character, an iconic character like Geoffrey, but represent it in a way that I wanted to. You know what I mean? I was very intentional about trying to show a different version of Geoffrey.
Sure.
And Morgan Cooper, the creator, he said he wanted him to be from East London. I said, say less, I'm from East London, And so everything I put into Geoffrey is a mixture of things people have seen and I've been around growing up. And also I was very conscious about not playing a stereotype, you know what I'm saying? And thinking about all the young versions of myself watching the screen and watching this show and that character, and just being mindful of that in terms of how I want to portray Geoffrey.
Man, Geoffrey was a dog. You know what I'm saying? Geoffrey was that guy that sees. And it's funny, when you think about, when the show first came out, and I reminisce on my childhood watching the original Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Geoffrey was just a servant.
Yeah.
And with the comedic relief.
Yep.
He was there and he'd crack a joke. But he was never really, he was a part of the family, but you never saw him as the glue or the guy within the family. But on this version, like Jeffrey was, like he was the guy that people called on when there was something that needed to be fixed. He was the fixer. He was the glue. He solved all the problems, but he walked into the room like the boss. And there were episodes where Jeffrey and Uncle Phil would go at it, and it's like. Yeah. Jeffrey, like, you root for Jeffrey. I'm not rooting for Uncle Phil. Like, nah, Jeffrey right in that instance, right? For you, how important was it that, like, you kind of hit to it, but how important was it that Jeffrey was, like, nah, Jeffrey is just as much a part of this family as anybody else is, and when Jeffrey enters the room, people turn and listen. They don't just overlook his presence.
First of all, thank you, because when you talk like that, it really highlights all the different levels of nuance within the show. Do you know what I mean? And if those of us that love the original, it's really interesting in terms of your experience when you watch our version, because you notice all the differences. Yeah. But I want to start off by saying this lines up with my quote, Dare to Dream. I've got to give a big shout out to Morgan Cooper. Yeah, Morgan Cooper is the creator of Bel-Air. He was, driving down the freeway, I think in Kansas, and, God just downloaded this, idea to him. Yeah. But that's not enough. He still had to write it, shoot it, fly to LA, cast it, like do all the things, and then make sure that it's of such a high standard. When we saw that trailer, I saw it, I thought it was already made, the show. I was like, oh, I'm not going to get a role in that show, but that was just, his vision to do the TV show. So when we spoke about the original Jeffrey and this new Jeffrey, Dre, first thing Morgan said to me is like, I don't want to do Black Help. And I was just like, I was like, it's 2020, that age, it was 2021. Yeah. I was just like, I love that. Yeah. It's a different time. And then he talked about brotherhood, you know what I mean? What that looked like. And then we started talking about like, family doesn't have to be blood, and then we started talking about them being equals, Uncle Phil and Jeffrey, and it doesn't matter what, they're different job titles, but as men, they're equal, and actually they're brothers. Yeah, yeah. And so, you spoke on it a bit when, in season 1, when they did come at loggerheads, it was like two brothers that love each other dearly, ready to fight each other, but can't, And so the only thing Uncle Phil could do was to fire Jeffrey. And so that made us, we had lots of conversations, Morgan, as well as the showrunner, Carter Waddles, about Black men and vulnerability. I think there's a version of that scene of season 1. If you haven't seen it, I'm sorry, but like there's a typical way it would go. Yeah. Oh, right. Uncle Phil and Jeffrey, they're throwing blows and like, they're having a fight. Yeah. And I know that happens. I know families are complicated. Yeah, it can happen. For sure. But we got so many of those versions out there on TV. How can we show a different version of men at conflict where it doesn't have to involve violence, swearing, like where actually it involves vulnerability and love. The most physical these guys get it was the tears, like the borderline tears of like heartbreak, and I feel like that's an important area that our show sort of held in TV land, if that makes sense. Yeah. We really did lean into it's okay for grown men to cry, to show love, to be vulnerable, to be flawed. And I always talk about over the last few years, you got Busta Rhymes, crying as he wins the award. You've got, you got Tyrese doing these things. It's like these moments are important, I think, because I think we've not really been allowed. Yeah. There's an expectation that no, you can't do that. Yeah. We have to be strong. Correct. We have to bottle things up, and I feel that just has a negative effect. And actually, our young kings are watching us, our young princes, and so I think for me, back to your question, so I know I've gone on, it's just that it was all about, we're not doing Black Help, we're actually doing brotherhood, and we're actually doing family, we're actually doing Black excellence, even within the emotional aspect of it, you know?
Yeah. Man, I really do appreciate the show for what it shows about us as a community. Like you said, there's there's so many stereotypical shows that are out there that would depict us in a way where, oh, it's easy to go into this because, you know, that's what everybody else is doing. But like this show tackled a lot. It tackled family dynamics. It tackled drug abuse. It tackled being a teenager. It tackled being in places where you don't fit in, but how do you come about? How do you find your spaces? How do you find your lane? It tackled relationships. It tackled how do you communicate with people like this. A lot of people don't watch the show the way I did, but I was like, no, this is, you know, from my creative mind, like, oh, this is a really good way to depict us in a position of power. You saw somebody kind of try to come in and take Aunt Viv out the equation. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot that's in there that's like, oh wow, the family dynamic and the structure of the family, I think was done very well from the show. But I also think that depends on, you know, having the proper people cast in the roles that can depict such things, right? And so I think a lot of the show really hit on a lot of different family dynamics. And I know you, with a foster care background, you were talking about your family's here, visiting you now. Like, how do you feel as though your upbringing actually allowed you to play a better part in this role? When you look at the full family dynamic of the show, you look at Will, I mean, he's not in foster care, but he's not under the care of his mother. Right, he's in a new place, in a new situation with some people who are now have a responsibility of taking care of him. Like, how do you feel as though your background actually made you a better fit to be on the show?
Oh man, I love it when I speak to people that have watched the show, and you know, you can talk about the show in detail. But I think my answer to your question is like, I truly believe that this is a full circle moment for me as a young kid growing up in foster care in the UK. I didn't realize that The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air is the biggest care story in the world. A lot of people don't know this, but Benny Medina, that used to be J-Lo's manager, this whole show is based on his life. He was adopted by, I think it was a white family in LA, and when he talked to Quincy was like, hell, we got to do your story. But we've already done different strokes, so let's make the wealthy family black. Because look at me, there's all these other kinds of families, and we need to represent that on TV. It can't just be the Cosbys. And so for me, growing up, I used to look at Will, I see myself in him, I want to be him. Not just as an actor, but just also the character. And I think a lot of people did. But how crazy in this full circle moment, but I was watching a true version of myself, because Will's playing Benny Medina, and Benny Medina is like me. He's been through the care system. And so for me to be in Bel-Air, it truly, I call it God's business. I really do. And I think how it's helped me be very resilient in my personal life. There's an adaptability to me, you know, like I think naturally you have a certain upbringing like mine. You learn to be like a shapeshifter in some ways. You know what I mean? Like you can roll with the cool kids, the not so cool kids. You know what I mean? The bullies. Like in some ways, I think being quite voyeuristic in my younger years has helped me with my acting. And allowed me to blend into roles and have a sense of empathy. You know what I mean? Knowing that there can be a judgment when you see young people that have been through care. And I had to have empathy for people that were judging me, you know, and also empathy for my parents, you know, especially my mom that struggled with mental health, that, you know, meant that I was in the care system. And so I think I am the man I am today because I've been fostered, I've been in care, because I had a positive experience, you know. I had a white foster family in the UK. It was very rare back in them days, still rare now. But I also was simultaneously in touch with my Nigerian family, and so I had this hybrid upbringing. And when people asked me, would I change anything? I think I remember I got to like 16 and I realized, no, I wouldn't. Because if I change anything, that means I'm denying the family that helped raise me and put me on this path, you know? and that is a part of who I am. Even though there's pain with that, right?
Yeah.
You know, because sometimes I think as a kid, like the fairy tale thing was like, why can't all my biological family, why can't we all be together?
Yeah.
But as I got older, I realized I can't deny the love, the support I got from my foster family. And I think you're right, like Will is family, but he's not being brought up by his mom. He hasn't got a relationship with his dad. And so for me, this whole show, it was like that moment where you go, art imitates life.
Yeah.
You know, Jimmy Akingbola came to the US. I didn't have a great relationship with my dad. You know, I know what it looks like when you've got, you know, a family that's not blood. I could really understand Will's journey in the show and Jabari's journey as an actor who's playing it. This is his first role, and that's, so I think it's just one of those moments where I really truly believe God's got his hand on this show and on me, where it's like this is such a perfect fit, and I felt very honored that in season 2 I was able to pour some of my personal stuff into the show. So when we went into like Geoffrey's background and you know, his son had gone, you know, was I think fostered, and like he was paying the family, sending money, like trying to support from afar. But that thing about empathy, there's people like judge Geoffrey, but it wasn't just Geoffrey, it was Geoffrey's wife as well, and they went through something, and it's like, rather than take that kid through that chaos, you know, Geoffrey didn't know, but his wife was like, I got to put this kid into the care system. And so I'm proud that we got to tell that story. And I'm also really grateful that I'm a part of the legacy of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, you know, and because of what it means to me, and because of, I suppose, the alignment of myself and Benny Medina's story. It's crazy. I've still not met him here yet in LA. So hopefully I get to do that one day.
Man, I just value and appreciate just the reflection, you know, just being able to reflect. One of the biggest things about this season is like this season's all about peeling back the layers of the black man, right? You got your top layer, which is your appearance and how you look. You got your inner layer. So the outer layer is your appearance, your inner layer is your mental health, you know, mental fortitude. The third layer is your business foundation, and then your fourth layer is your core. It's your family, your friends, your relationships, and to be able to kind of see how you process through all those layers, just even in that understanding that where you come from, and being able to find a community and develop a community, even in like the show space. Like I think that show is so good because you can tell that you can tell that you and Adrian have a relationship. You know what I mean? Not, you know, you and Uncle Phil, right? You can tell you have a relationship because it shows that how you communicate on camera. And I love that, you know, I actually do like the fact that Jabari's first role is huge. And to be able to see, you know, how he and Carlton related on the show, and you know, they start out odd ends, but then they become brothers. And just to be able to see that dynamic, man, it's really beautiful. It's really amazing. And I'm glad they cast you to be a part of that.
No,
I don't know if I'd like the show,
you
know, as much as I do if you were a part of it.
Oh, no, I appreciate that.
So now, you know, when you talk about Bel-Air, can't think about Bel-Air without Will Smith, right? We talked about Benny Medina. Will is playing Benny Medina. But when you think about Will Smith, like his best movie ever, what would you say? I would say Will Smith's best movie is Ali, right? Because the way that he portrayed Ali, and I guess that's kind of like a cheap selection because when you portray somebody else, it's a lot easier to fall into the role. But I say it's Ali. What would you say is Will Smith's best movie?
For me, I would say Will Smith's best movie is Pursuit of Happiness.
That's actually a good one.
I think that movie is amazing. I think, again, you know, not to bang on about it, but the vulnerability that he was able to portray within that character, like being a father, the scene that really sticks with me is when they're at the train station, you know, just spending the night there. I remember watching it and being in tears, but there's something about that performance that was so raw. I think him working with his son also helped in some ways, you know what I mean? But also I think it's that mixture again, I think we talked about it earlier, art art imitating life. Like, I think Will tapped into some of his childhood in that moment, you know, when he was looking at his son, and also the struggle, you know. You know, Will, you know, went through a lot before he became the Will that we know. So I think Pursuit of Happiness is such a beautiful, powerful movie. And I think also, as I'm talking to you now, I'm realizing that guy had a dream. He dared to dream, and he didn't give up. He didn't give up. He kept, you know, pounding the pavement. And I think another underestimated film, it's not his film, but it's a performance. Just because, you know, I always like to give actors something to look at and research. It's a movie, 6 Degrees of Separation is probably one of Will's best performances ever. It's one of his first big performances, I think, after The Fresh Prince. And he's acting alongside people like Ian McKellen, and he's playing a role so different from himself. And I think when I watched that as a young actor coming up, I was like, yeah, this guy's an actor. He's doing the work. He's very comfortable about coming away from himself. He doesn't just want to play roles that are similar to who he is. And yeah, I urge everybody to watch it. Have you seen it?
I have. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
Now.
It's
been a long time.
It's a great performance.
Worth a rewatch. So now, when you think about, you know, you've been acting in the UK for a while. You know what I mean? You've been on other shows and things like, but this role for you, and you think about your journey from the UK to the US. I mean, how different is acting across the pond to where it is here?
I would say, you know, UK is so much smaller. And I would say that to start off with, a lot of us, we start out on stage. So for my first 3 years of after drama school, I was just doing plays. I was doing I was averaging like 3 plays a year, you know, earning equivalent US dollars, maybe $400 a week, you know what I mean? Like, I started out with one line at the back, trying not to get it wrong, and then over the years I started building up, you know, to getting leading roles, and I ended up playing roles like Othello or like a great plays like Blue Orange, and doing Tennessee Williams plays and stuff like that. But so I think, I know you guys have definitely got theater here, especially in New York, but I think it's such our bread and butter in the UK, and then you got the Shakespeare element. And I think to be an actor, you can just, there's a lot of actors that I say their name, if I said their names to you, you wouldn't know them because they've just purely got a great career on stage. You know what I mean? And so I think in America, I feel like if you're not like a TV star or film star, it's almost like sometimes I feel like you're not judged as an actor. You know what I mean? I've not seen you in anything. I was like, well, did you go to the theater? Go to Chicago, New York, and check out the theater in LA. And whereas in the UK, you don't even have to do a TV show or film, and you know, you can have an amazing career and you are known. So I think that's the difference. But also I think the similarities is that it's tough still for like a lot of you know, Black British actors, you know my Asian counterparts as well, and I see the same here. But I think when you try to compare like the success, I think when you pop here, you really are pop. You really do pop, and you're nurtured. You know what I mean? In the UK, I feel like it's still working on how do we nurture the next stars, you know what I mean? Like, how do we keep it consistent so it's not one in, one out, you know? And I think also the difference is sort of the type of shows. I think in the UK, what I love about our shows, they are a little bit more, I don't know, rough around the edges, smaller in scale, but still powerful. You know, you look at something like Baby Reindeer or Top Boy, you know, or Chewing Gum, or they're so varied, but there's a there's a tightness to them. They're quite unique and boutique. Whereas I think America do have a few of those, but also I think the scale of America is so different to the UK. I think there's some shows there's a lot of shows in the US that we couldn't make, which I think because of budgets and the size of the industry here, you're so much bigger. But I think being here though, for me, it was a natural progression. You know, Dre, I looked at my friends and peers, like Idris, you know what I mean? Like Marianne Jean-Baptiste, Kaluuya, Damson Idris. Like there's a lot of actors out here, and I was like, okay, I want to have an international career. So that's what made me say, let me come to America. Yeah. And I didn't have no job. I just sort of packed my bags and had I think almost like, LA's expensive. So I thought I think I just about had a year's worth of rent.
Okay.
And then I was like, let's go and see what it says.
Well, shoot, the fact you had a year's worth of rent is better than a lot of people that move here without
you know, I hear you.
Worth, like, I'm gonna see what happens.
Yeah.
Do you and that's a great thing too. Like you I don't know if you've heard it. I'm sure you have, but like especially a lot of young actors, they really kind of think that success happens overnight. But I mean, you've been acting for years. What can you say to somebody that might be going through this period of, man, I've been trying this for like 2 years now and I still ain't got, like, what kind of motivation can you give a young actor or young entertainer that can just help them to just keep going until you get that part?
Yeah, it's such a good question, but it's a tough question. Because the industry has changed so much now. But what I would say to any young actor is like, the work. It's like, do the work. Like work ethic. Don't worry about how many followers you got. Like, don't watch somebody's other person's career. Like, really hone your craft. Because, you know, I believe in the quote, you know, when, all right, is it luck meets preparation or something like that? Do you know what I mean? But I'm like, you know what? Yeah, but you've got to have the craft. You really do have to. For I think longevity and sustainability, there's some people you might go that might not have as much craft and still be able to work because the industry is changing, has changed. But I think for any actor that really wants to be an actor, I think listen to any interview that Denzel does. You know what I mean? He really just strips it down. It's about the work. It's about the work. Like, you know, understanding your character. Like, read the script many times. Don't be afraid to ask for help if you bump into another actor. Like, you know, ask, get some advice. Small things. I would watch a play once a week. I'd watch try and watch a film once a day. I'd also, you know, constantly on the train be reading like a play or a book. And also I would say, like, we're in a place where with Netflix and all the streamers, that's your work. I say that by, you can watch some stuff, but like, check out who's writing on those shows. Check out who the producers are. Like, understand the tone and the nuance, and do it the same with plays, you know? You got people like Katori Hall, you know, doing the P-Valley thing. Like, I knew her name from all her theater work. So as soon as I see her pop up on TV, I'm like, I'm speaking to my manager, like, yo, she does these plays. I love her work. Tell her people I want to work with her, whether it's stage or TV. So I think doing the work, doing the research, and not getting caught up in that fame bubble or the celebrity thing. It's like, I know it's hard with social media. Listen. I know we have our fun online, and you know, I tell people, you know, Instagram is not real, but like, doesn't mean you can't have fun with it, but it's not real. Like, just focus on the work. I really urge any young actor to do that, you know?
And you said, luck meets preparation, but something I learned by my brothers at Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated was that proper preparation prevents piss poor performance. So when you get there, when you have that opportunity and you're not prepared for it versus you wishing for luck, you walk into it like, oh, I've already done this 1,000 times. I already know what to do. I've already been through this, And Kareem Grimes is on this season as well. And Kareem said, we say, do the work, show up on time, do the work, hit your mark. So that's all you got to do in the industry. You show up on time, you do the work, and you hit your mark. And you're going to stay in people's minds because they're crazy enough. When you think about it's a job, there are people that don't treat it like a job. They come up whenever they want to get there. Yeah. They're distractions on set versus those that show up on time.
Yeah.
Do their job, hit their mark.
Yeah.
Those are
you're
people
right.
Yeah.
It's so funny you should say that because it's so bizarre. If you think about acting, right? Say we have never met before. Everybody in this room, you put us together. You expect us to get on, like each other, and work well together.
Right.
That's not easy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I say that because when I look at this job, I've been working for a while, but Bel-Air has probably been my most favorite job. You know, I loved every actor I worked with, and we really do get on like a family. Yeah. But it is those things like people turn up on time, they do the work, and we push each other as well creatively. Do you know what I mean? It's like no one took it for granted. Everybody wanted to make Bel-Air the best show it could be, but like it wasn't about anything else apart from the work. How can we make this scene be better? Yeah. You know, and there's sometimes, I can't say what, we would go back. You know, I give that to the producers. They're like, we got to reshoot something because it didn't, you know, it can be better. Yeah. But I think one thing, just because Kareem talked about turn up on time, do the work, hit your mark, I get that, but I feel like we're missing a step. And it's hard, right? Resilience, rejection.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
that was my next question.
Okay.
I'm about to, go ahead. Go ahead. So what I was gonna say, like the industry can be brutal. Like it take a lot. Sometimes you get a lot of no's. How do you? And before I've been blessed to be in this opportunity, before we were in the process of building this empire, I was in sales, and one thing I learned early on from one of my VPs was like, NeAndre, get used to no, but all you need is one yes. Yeah. That one yes can change your whole year. And it's the same thing in this industry, right? Yeah. But I had a mindset and a fortitude. Like I was okay with, because I got it. I was like, I'm just looking for that yes. Yeah. Just looking for that yes. But everybody isn't built like that. And so, but like in this industry, you got to have tough skin. Like how do you deal with rejection in this industry?
It's hard, right? Because my way is not everybody's way. But I'll go be honest with you. I give myself a day or two to sit in the disappointment. Sometimes it feels like pain. Sometimes it's tears. I gotta be real. And then after that one day or that second day, I'm like, that's enough. We get back on the horse. And I remind myself that the fact that I got down to the last two, I was considered for something and I didn't get it, shows you how close I am. Yeah. I have that mindset rather than just dwell on I didn't get it. Yep. It's like, no, but look how far you got, you know? That helps me. I remind myself that maybe complacency is a thing. So let's go harder. But also there are times where you do go hard, you do all that you can, you slay it. Yeah. And it's still not your time. Yeah. And so that's good. That's good. Those ones are hard. They're the hardest ones. You know, when you know you've done everything you can and you get the feedback, he's amazing. It's nothing that he did. Yeah. And then you're like, whoa.
Why didn't get the role?
Why didn't get a role?
Yeah.
And that's where I think just have a bit of faith, you know, say, you know, whatever you believe in. Yeah. And then I think my main thing to battle rejection is maintaining a consistency, a level of performance. Like, I try not to put too much pressure on myself, but if I can get like callbacks, you know, tests, get down to the last two, like get some feedback, then for me, I know it's a matter of time till I get that yes, you know? Correct. But if I let the disappointment of not getting that job like linger more than a day or two, and then next minute my manager or agent sends me an audition, I'm taking that energy into that.
Right.
So I urge people, like, I'm not saying you can't be upset, like, take it, but like, let it run through you as quick as possible.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
Because you don't want to go out for that thing. You don't know if God's got you. Like, this is that thing you thought was yours. No, I'm saying this is it. But if you go with that energy, I'm down because I'm upset because I didn't get it, you're not going to get that next one. And then that's when the cycle can continue, I call it the negative momentum.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
Whereas I'm a big believer about positive momentum.
For sure.
Even if you don't get something.
For sure. I mean, a positive outlook begets positive outcomes.
Yeah.
And it is tough, but you have to be able to build that something that helps you get through it. Like you said, if you take a day or two, take a day or two, but don't take a week.
Yep. Don't take
you know, you can't, because now you've settled in it.
Yeah.
And you've missed something. But also, like what you said, like what God has for me might not be this role.
Yeah.
You know, it might be a show that's only there for one season, not 4.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
There you go.
It might be, you know, something that doesn't overall doesn't get the feedback that represents you in the best light, and now you're in a role where on a show that you don't feel comfortable in, because a lot, you know, just things happen, and I think that's one of those things, to be able to think positively is a powerful mental space to be in, even though the world is a lot of negative. But if you can think positively about yourself, about your opportunities, that does help people get a lot, you know, through a lot more things. And
I would say, what about yourself? Like, how do you deal with like your no's and your disappointments?
I mean, honestly, thank you for asking, because nobody else on this season cared. No, I think for me, it's really, I just look at a no is just it's a part of the course. Yeah. But I also know that what God has for me, I don't even know the end result yet. And so some of those no's are required. So that makes me and my team go back and think about, dang, why did we get a no? Why did we get a no? What could we have done? Yeah. How could we have done things? And I always say I don't take losses, I take lessons. So instead of it being something that we get stuck in, it's like, no, we're gonna pivot. Okay, we didn't get this because of A, B, and C. Okay, what can we do better next time to where we might potentially get it? Or what can we learn from this experience? Yeah. And that's been one of those things. I've always been a learner of experiences. I don't do well enough in reading, which I probably should. But I do really, really well in experiences. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, that's my damn fault. That's how I look at it. Yeah. And so I get that. That's really kind of how I get through things. Like, I'm gonna learn something from every no, every rejection. We're gonna try to figure out something. Yeah. Right. Yeah. But it's all about the small wins. It's baby progress, baby steps. And then we will continue to grow and grow and grow from there. So that's really how I take them. Yeah. I think also it's good to have something else alongside, you know, your job, your passion. I suppose if we're talking about actors, I would say to them, have something else, like whether it was within the industry or not. But coming up, you know, one of my best friends, Fraser Ayres, in the UK, we created a organization called Triforce Creative Network, and it was all about supporting diverse artists, you know, doing free actor showcases so they could get seen by managers, agents, casting directors, producers, doing short film festivals, like honestly, doing writing labs. We're doing all the things. And what I realized for me, how it helped, is that there were times I'm busy trying to do an event, trying to get 200, 300 people come to this event. You know, no one's paying. We're trying to, like, you know, give it for free, and because we don't believe talent should pay. But what happened is that I would get slightly annoyed when my agent would be like, listen, we've got an audition. And then I'd be like, oh no, Jimmy, don't get annoyed. But I was so in it and distracted that I could go to the work with fresh eyes, apply the work ethic. That's the key word I would say to any young actor, work ethic. Apply the work ethic to this audition, go and do my best, nail it, and many things. I was able to talk about, what you've been up to? I'd be like, oh, this is what I'm doing. Yeah. I'm helping creatives, I've got this event next week. Yeah. But also it allowed me not to be too precious with it, you know, because I need to show you how good I am, do this audition to the best of my ability, then I got to get back to the laptop, or I got to get back to this event tonight at 8 p.m. because I'm about to host the show. Yeah. And
And I urge everyone to have something else, you know, and it doesn't have to be in the business. It could be like, hey, you might want to be a painter, or you might like cycling or something else. But I think it just balances things up. Otherwise, if it's the only thing you got when you have a lot of the no's, it's really hard to get a sense of like, I don't know, support from something else, you know, because you've got nothing else to pour into and to uplift you, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think there's a balance to life. You know, it's funny because they say there's this thing called a work-life balance, and I know I'm contradicting myself because I just said that there's a balance to life. But you have to be able to break away from the thing that's at times causing you stress. And if there's nothing there that you could go to retreat to, then you know, the stress builds up and it compounds, especially us as black men. We don't like to relieve stress. We like to build it up, bottle it up. And then, you know, we die of heart attacks at 35, right? And so just being able to have something that you can break away from and go into that. Right now, the thing for me is golf.
Oh, great.
But I get upset when I play golf because I'm not that great. I'm okay.
Golf will humble you.
It will.
Yeah,
it will humble.
Yeah.
And it's funny, I was golfing with a friend and they were like, Dre, bro, you gotta chill out. They're like, either you're gonna be good today, or you're gonna have a good time. They didn't say anything about being angry. So either today is your day, and you having a good day on the course,
look at that,
or you realize today ain't your day, and we're just gonna have a good time out here.
There you
and
go.
Like that's one of those things where it's like, but you got to be able to break away from the stresses of life, even for people that are in the space of entertainment. Like you got to be able to break away. And I love that you brought that up.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think your community, you know, I think, you know, being surrounded by like-minded people, but also different people can have different perspectives. But sometimes I think what you touched on there, as men, we do hold on to things and we don't want to sort of reach out or open up, you know, if we're struggling with something. And I think I urge, you know, just men, any young actor, but us as people, just to communicate more, be a bit more vulnerable. One thing I've been saying a lot recently since the pandemic is that vulnerability is a superpower. It's not a weakness. You know. And I think, but we're still on the early journey of shifting. You know, that perspective. You know. But I do think, what is your community? You know, who can you talk to in terms of your family, your friends group, and just to share and open up. And you'd be surprised how, you know, someone that you probably thinking, they don't get it, they don't understand. They will say that one thing that could unlock you or really sort of ease that weight that you're carrying, you know, whatever it is.
Yeah, man, it's great to have safe spaces like Black Menswear. We try to be a safe space for brothers, to be able to see visuals, to attend events, to be a part of communities, because we do understand how important it is to not feel like you're on an island, not feel like you're by yourself, feel like there are other people that can relate to you. And so I think, again, I appreciate you tapping on that. I got a couple more questions for you. So one of those questions, right? Okay. Now, with the role of Jeffrey, I don't know what your suit game was like before. But with the role of Jeffrey, I mean, like, every time we saw you on camera, it was custom tailored top to bottom. Now, I want to ask you, and some people might not agree with me out there, I say suits over streetwear. From your perspective, are you really more of a suited guy, or do you prefer streetwear?
You know what? Deep down, I'm more of a suited guy, you know? And I think I counteract the streetwear version side of me with, you can break up a suit in so many different ways. For sure, you know, like you see me now, I'm just in a tee. For sure. You know, we got some white kicks. It's just loose. So I feel like I'm wearing an elevated hoodie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think I'm definitely, suits over streetwear. And I think low-key, it's that the job has influenced me. I've always liked suits before, but it definitely elevated, I suppose, my taste buds. You know, I've got to give a shout out to Queen Sylvia, our costume designer on the show. She came in and she elevated the show as a whole, and like everybody's outfits really representing the character. You know, and just spoke. The whole costume was a character in itself when it came to Bel-Air. And it's so funny that there are times where I'm like, oh, yeah, is this Jimmy's style or what I'm wearing, or is it Jeffrey's style, you know?
Yeah.
And I think it's a mixture of both, because me and Queen also talked about being the UK fashion. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Like different cut,
Yeah.
different colors, also being a British-born Nigerian. Do you know what I mean? What colors and vibes that we're going to get in there, but Jeffrey's a Jamaican. So like, what does that look like when we put Jeffrey in his clothes? And also, you can't forget, Jeffrey was born in Jamaica, he came to the UK, so he grew up in the UK.
Yeah.
So it's almost like, we talked about how did he hold on to his identity in terms of the clothes that he wears. And so I feel like she did really well to show that mixture of like, oh yeah, he's been in LA for a bit now, but he ain't letting go to that UK swagger, if that makes sense.
Sure,
and but yeah, I've loved wearing all the fits, and it's going to be interesting to see what that next job is, you know?
Yeah. It's funny, like when you talk about the fits and being from London, we did a London flash mob 2023.
Okay.
Savile Row.
Oh, Savile Row. Where did you go?
So the whole Savile Row, we took over Savile Row for the mob. And so we had 60 brothers out there. And the great thing about it was also Wimbledon.
Oh my God.
So when we moved from Savile Row to Mayfair, there's one of the main roads that's there. There's a big a Wimbledon obstruction. It's tennis. It's like right by the Ralph Lauren store, right there on that main road. Bro, we lined up there. There's a red phone booth right there, and it was just the people just stopped. Everybody was like, "Oh, what's this going on right here?" It was a good time, but that was my first time being in London.
How did you find London, man?
It was cool. Cool. It's funny. I got on the train in Mayfair, and I got off the train in Brixton. so
all right,
it was a stark difference.
Yep.
I got on the train in Manhattan, and I got off the train in the Bronx.
Yeah, okay,
So it was very different, but I appreciated London for a couple of different reasons. One, the culture. You just understanding U.S. history.
Yeah.
We have a tie to Britain. That's where people came from to start the country, right? So to be able to see that, like the royalty and those aspects, so that was actually pretty dope. But just think, UK black people rock with US black people. That was something that I was like, they cool. Bro, we went out there, got invited to a house party.
Yes.
Went to a house party, that was actually the first time. I was talking with a young lady. We were having a conversation. I wasn't talking to a young lady. We were having a conversation.
Okay. Yeah.
She asked me the question. She said, "Where are you from?" And I said, "I'm from Texas." She's like, "Nah, like where are you from?" I said, "The United States." She's like, "No, where are your people from?" I was like, "Your family, like where are they from?" I said, "No, I am from the United States." I said, "My family has been there for 6 generations that I know of. That I can count back there."
Yeah.
She was like, "Wow. You're the first person that I've ever met, black person I've ever met that's actually from the U.S. Versus somebody that's 1 or 2 generations removed from their home country being there." Wow. I kind of took a little pride in that. I was like, yeah, I'm a black American.
Yeah, no, definitely.
And then I went back home, and I was talking to my parents about it, and they were like, "Well, 6, but like we can go back further, 8, 9 generations of being here."
Look at that.
But I got that, when I was a brick.
I love that though, because I love that there's no judgment there, that both can exist. Even her response was like, "Oh wow, there was joy in that and pride in that," rather than it go the other way. And I suppose I want to say that, Brits, like we grew up watching so much, American culture, and I'm a big believer in togetherness, like yes, for like jokes and vibes, you can debate about US rappers, UK rappers, whatever, but I really do promote togetherness, because I think, if we're really smart, there's another reason why they're trying to pit us against each other. Right. But I think when I think of like creatively the outlet, when I look at someone like Jay Samuels, who did what's the the Black Messiah, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh no, wait, no, is that what he did? What's the one? The Harder They Fall.
Okay, with
Jay Samuels, Harder They Fall with Idris, but also Delroy Lindo. Like when I look at Regina King, when I look at that whole cast, it was a mixture of so many different people from different places, and I think like that's a representation of us coming together. And I feel like I'm all about that. We need to do that more. I want to see like a movie theater or a TV show where you've got Omar Sy from France. You know what I mean? You've got Denzel, you've got Idris, you got I don't know, someone else from Brazil, like to bring the diaspora together, you know what I mean, rather than to separate each other, and at the same time we're all from that one place as well, you know. So I'm not surprised that you got asked where you from. You know what I'm saying? You know, I get all the time. People think I'm more Ghanaian or Jamaican rather than I'm Nigerian, but I'm like, no, I'm a British-born Nigerian.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, hey, look, I appreciate you, Jimmy, taking your time, tapping in with us here today. This is another episode of The Check-In where we are peeling back the layers of black men. We're talking about the top layer, the outer layer, the inner layer, the foundation, and the core. And Jimmy, I feel like you really helped us to understand, peel back some of your layers, but it also helps other black men to understand the benefit of being vulnerable, having real conversations with real brothers, man. So I appreciate you.
Appreciate it, bro.
We end the episode the same way every time, all right? I need you to look at that camera. You're going to repeat after me. You're going to say, "Dear black man," and you're going to finish that statement. I need a message, something you want to tell either your younger self, tell other black men that are in different spaces. Just give a message to our community because, like we say, if ain't nobody else going to check in on us, we're going to do it here on The Check-In.
I love that.
So, dear black man.
Dear black man, you are enough and you are loved.
And just like that, we out. But before you leave us, you got to do three things. You have to like, subscribe, and share this episode. Like the episode, subscribe to the channel, and share this episode because somebody else might need to hear the story that Jimmy shared with us here today. We'll see you guys on the next episode of The Check-In with Black Menswear. And like that, we out.